We've talked, and we think it's best if you step away for now. That was the message. Not a phone call. Not a conversation. Just a cold, perfectly punctuated sentence sitting in our family group chat like a verdict. It was sent by my older brother, but I knew immediately it wasn't just him. It was signed with that one word that hurt more than anything else. We. We've talked. We think. We decided. Like I wasn't even part of the family anymore. And the worst part? It was about my own mother. So tell me honestly, if your entire family tried to quietly push you out of your own mother's life, would you just walk away, or would you fight back? I remember staring at my phone that night, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. My mom was in the hospital. She'd had a mild stroke 2 days before. It wasn't life-threatening, thank God. But it was serious enough that doctors were talking about long-term care plans, physical therapy, lifestyle changes, the kind of stuff families are supposed to discuss together. I had been there every single day since it happened. I was the one who called 911 when she collapsed in her kitchen. I was the one who rode in the ambulance. I was the one who held her hand while she cried because she couldn't move the left side of her face properly. But apparently I was also the one they decided needed to step away. To understand how we got there, you have to understand my family. I'm the youngest of 3. My brother Daniel is 5 years older than me, and my sister Marissa is 3 years older. Growing up, they were always a team. I was kind of the afterthought. Not unloved, just less prioritized. Daniel was the golden child. Straight A's, varsity sports, went to a good college. Marissa was the sensitive one, the overachiever, the one who made my mom proud by becoming a nurse. And then there was me. I was the creative one, the free spirit, the one who didn't follow the script. I didn't go to college right away. I worked odd jobs, tried my hand at photography, then graphic design. I struggled financially in my early 20s. I made mistakes. I dated the wrong people. I asked my mom for help more than once. And that's the thing. She always helped me. She never made me feel like a burden. But my siblings? They kept score. Every family dinner, somehow, turned into a subtle reminder of how I wasn't as stable as they were. Daniel would ask, "So you're still freelancing?" with that tight smile. Marissa would say things like, benefits are important at our age. It was never outright cruel, but it was constant. And my mom would always jump in to defend me. She'd say, "He's figuring it out." Everyone has their own timeline. I loved her for that. I think they resented me for it. Fast forward a few years. I did figure it out. I landed a steady remote design job with a small marketing firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well. I moved into a small apartment just 10 minutes from my mom's house. Daniel and Marissa both lived out of state by then. I was the only one nearby, so naturally I saw her more. I fixed things around her house. I took her grocery shopping. I set up her streaming apps because she couldn't figure them out. It wasn't some grand sacrifice. I just loved spending time with her. But that's when the whispers started. I'd hear it in their voices during family video calls. "You're over there again?" Daniel would ask. Or Marissa would say, "Mom, you need to be careful not to rely too much on him." Like I was some kind of leech, waiting for my next handout. The irony? I hadn't asked my mom for money in years. If anything, I was the one covering little expenses here and there without even mentioning it. When she had the stroke, everything escalated. I called both of them immediately from the hospital waiting room. Marissa went into full nurse mode, asking about symptoms and test results. Daniel kept saying, "How did this happen? Was she stressed?" And then, subtly, he asked, "Has she been okay financially?" That question stuck with me. It was like he was fishing for something. Like maybe I had done something. They both flew in the next morning. I was relieved at first. I thought, okay, this is what families do. We come together in a crisis. But the energy shifted fast. They didn't thank me for being there. They didn't acknowledge that I had handled everything the first night alone. Instead, they started taking over. Marissa spoke directly to the doctors, often without including me in the conversation. Daniel started asking about Mom's will. Her will. While she was still in a hospital bed, trying to relearn how to hold a spoon. I confronted him in the hallway. I asked him why he was bringing that up now. He said, "It's just practical. We need to make sure everything's in order." And then he looked at me in a way that made my stomach drop, like he didn't trust me. A few days later, I walked into Mom's hospital room and the mood went quiet. They had been talking. I could feel it. Mom looked uncomfortable. Marissa said they were discussing post-hospital plans. Daniel said they thought it might be best if Mom moved closer to one of them for a while. I reminded them that I was right here, that I could help, that my job was remote. Daniel said, "That's kind of the issue." I didn't understand at first. The issue? Me being available? Apparently, yes. They said I was too involved. That Mom needed professional care. Not just me hovering. Like I was some nuisance. I looked at my mom, waiting for her to defend me like she always had. But she just looked tired, overwhelmed. She said, softly, "I just want everyone to get along." That night, after they left the hospital to get dinner, I sat next to her bed and asked her directly if she wanted me to step back. She squeezed my hand and said, "No, I'm just scared. I don't want you kids fighting." And that broke me, because I realized this wasn't about her needs. It was about their control. The group message came 2 days later. They had created a separate thread without me at. First I found out because Mom accidentally mentioned the plan we discussed. When I asked what plan, she went quiet. Then, that evening, my phone buzzed with the message. "We've talked, and we think it's best if you step away for now. Let us handle Mom's care and decisions. It'll reduce stress for everyone. Reduce stress for everyone. Except me, apparently. Except the person who had been there from the beginning. They claimed they were worried about boundaries. That I was emotionally too close. That I might influence Mom's decisions." That word, influence, hit me like a slap. I wasn't manipulating her. I was supporting her. But in their minds, because I had struggled financially before, because I lived nearby, because she confided in me, I was suspicious. So that's the situation I was in. My mother was recovering from a stroke. My siblings were painting me as some kind of opportunist. And I had to decide, do I step back like they asked and risk losing my place in my own family? Or do I stand my ground and risk tearing everything apart? Before I tell you what I did, I want you to pause and really think about it. If your own brother and sister sent you that message, would you swallow your pride for the sake of peace? Or would you fight for your right to be there? Comment what you would have done. Because at that moment, I felt completely alone. I didn't reply to the message right away. I typed out at least 5 different responses and deleted them all. Angry ones, calm ones, sarcastic ones. Finally, I just wrote, "I'm not stepping away from Mom. If you're concerned about something, let's talk about it openly." Daniel called me within minutes. Not to talk, to lecture. He said they were trying to avoid drama, that I was being defensive, which proved their point. Marissa chimed in on speaker, saying they had consulted a family friend who happened to be a lawyer about protecting Mom's interests. Protecting. From what? From me? That's when the truth finally came out. They believed Mom was planning to change her will, and they thought I was behind it. Apparently, a month before her stroke, Mom had mentioned to Marissa that she was considering adjusting some things. Nothing drastic. Just acknowledging that I had been helping her more recently. Marissa interpreted that as me working her. I was stunned. I hadn't even known she was thinking about her will. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted her okay. The next day, I did something they didn't expect. I asked Mom in front of both of them if she wanted to see a neutral attorney, not their friend, someone completely independent. I said I would step out of the room during the meeting. I just wanted everything transparent. Daniel looked shocked. Marissa looked almost annoyed. Mom agreed. We set up an appointment once she was discharged. When the day came, I drove her there, but waited outside in the car. For over an hour I sat there, staring at the steering wheel, wondering if my own family really thought I was capable of exploiting the woman who raised me. When she came out, she looked lighter, calmer. She got into the car and said, "I made my decisions, and they're mine." I didn't ask what she decided. I told her I trusted her, and I meant it. A week later, she called a family meeting at her house. All 3 of us sat in the living room like we were kids again. She told Daniel and Marissa that she had, in fact, updated her will. Not because of me, not because of anyone pressuring her, but because she realized after the stroke how fragile life was. She decided to divide everything equally. No special treatment, no secret adjustments, equal, but then she added something that changed everything. She appointed me as her medical power of attorney, not because I was her favorite, not because I lived closest, but because, in her words, he was the one who listened. Daniel went pale. Marissa started arguing immediately, saying I wasn't qualified. Mom shut it down. She said this was her choice, that she needed someone who would prioritize her wishes, not what looked best on paper. The aftermath was messy. Daniel barely spoke to me for months. Marissa accused me of turning Mom against them, even though I had literally tried to remove myself from the process. To avoid that exact accusation, holidays were tense. Group chats went silent. But you know what? Mom recovered steadily. I continued helping her, but with clearer boundaries. I documented everything. Every appointment, every expense. Total transparency. Not because I owed them that, but because I refused to ever let them question my integrity again. Over time, something shifted. Daniel saw that nothing shady was happening. Marissa saw that Mom was happy, stable, and still fiercely independent. They slowly started including me again. Not warmly, not like before, but civilly. Looking back, I realized that the message they sent wasn't really about me stepping away. It was about fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of change. Fear of not being the responsible ones anymore. And maybe a little guilt that they weren't there when it mattered most. But here's what I learned. When people say we think it's best, sometimes what they really mean is we're uncomfortable. And sometimes you have to be willing to be the villain in someone else's story to protect the truth in your own. So no, I didn't step away. I stayed. I fought calmly, transparently, and with respect. Not for money, not for power, but for my place in my own family. If you were on my side, if you believe I did the right thing by refusing to disappear quietly, like this video, if you think I should have just walked away to keep the peace, tell me that too. I read every comment, and if you want more stories about family drama, tough choices, and standing your ground when it feels like the whole world is against you, make sure you subscribe. Share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I'll see you all in the next story.